feel like, man, whatever you do wrong must come back around in a circle. Just like, you know what I'm talking about? If you did wrong.
Trusting Yo Gotti's like letting a fox babysit your chickens. Sure, they'll be quiet at first, but eventually feathers are flying. That's how Stan G might as well have put it when he dropped the hottest take of the decade. Yo Gotti could literally smoke his own artist. Not metaphorically kill his career. Oh no, the streets are whispering about the real deal. Imagine being on your boss's payroll, but also on his hit list.
The other day I put out a story, young mom had ended up catching a Rico, you know what I'm talking about, and I put out a story. An hour later, the news ran the same story.
HR can't save you from that performance review. Stan G didn't tiptoe around the drama. He stomped in wearing boots laced with Memphis street gossip and said what every fan was secretly afraid to believe. Blac Youngsta isn't just at risk of falling off musically, he's walking it through a minefield where the label head holds the detonator. This ain't the industry of family goals anymore, it's mafia goals.
Go hug my son.
Mr. Govan, you haven't smiled all this week, but obviously you have a lot to smile about. Just tell me just about what you're feeling in right now.
And if you've been paying attention, Gotti's been playing mob boss for years. The man named himself after John freakin Gotti, and he's not exactly handing out Employee of the Month plaques. The crazy part? Stan G's words hit different because he's not some troll typing from his mama's Wi-Fi. This is a guy who's been interviewing key figures in Young Dolph's murder case, shaking hands with the kind of dudes whose lives could be HBO crime docs. So when he says, yo, Blac Youngsta might get taken out by his own CEO, you lean in like it's story time with the Grim Reaper. And here's the irony that makes it deliciously messy.
It's out in the open. You sent that type of energy towards the Young Dolph way, and you got no Young Dolph knocked off. I talked to Govan. I did an interview with Hernandez Govan, the dude who said the whole, supposedly, you know what I'm saying, Dolph murder.
Blac Youngsta built his whole image on being CMG's wild pit bull, barking loud, biting harder, doing the dirty work nobody else wanted. But pit bulls eventually get old, and owners don't cry long when they put one down. That's the nightmare Stan G painted. Loyalty turning into liability. And in Gotti's empire, liabilities don't get golden parachutes, they get parachutes that mysteriously don't open. So yeah, when Stan G warned Youngsta to watch his back, it wasn't clickbait. It was more like, bro, you're living in a rap version of The Godfather, and you're not Michael, you're Fredo. And we all know how Fredo's story ends.
Yeah, at this point, because you lost all the say his last artist is Glorilla. She doing crazy because he putting a crazy bag behind Glorilla.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So Glorilla, she gonna shine regardless right now. But when he go over there and dealing with them Texas boys, them folk got hit up. Them folk got hit up everywhere he go to, like the Fed watching it. You know what I'm talking about? He signed that boy over there, that boy end up going to jail. So they watching.
Signing with Yo Gotti is like buying insurance from a loan shark. You're covered until the day he decides you're not. That's the vibe Stan G threw at the table when he declared that Yo Gotti might straight up take out Blac Youngsta. Forget office beef, this isn't Karen ate my yogurt in the break room. This is your boss is considering burying you next to the company logo. Stan G made the claim with zero hesitation, like he was ordering wings at Hooters. The wild part? He's not some internet troll LARPing as a gangsta. This dude has interviewed people tangled up in Young Dolph's murder case. He's brushed shoulders with real-life crime doc characters.
Own story behind Blac Youngsta. See, Blac Youngsta was hanging with one of Gotti enemies before he got with Gotti. Okay. So Blac Youngsta is somebody who just jump around for the money. He's just a send out. He one of the biggest send outs from Memphis.
So when he says Blac Youngsta needs to watch his back, it's less gossip, more obituary preview. And that's where the suspense gets greasy. Blac Youngsta, once CMG's wild pit bull, now looks more like the pit bull you keep in the backyard because it keeps biting the mailman. Gotti doesn't exactly run a pet-friendly business model. Loyalty doesn't mean lifetime security here. It means, thanks for your service. Don't let the door hit your coffin. Bottom line, Stan G basically screamed, yo, Youngsta, you're Fredo in The Godfather. And let's be real, Fredo didn't exactly retire in Miami. If rap beefs were horror movies, Young Dolph's ghost would be the killer that keeps popping up in sequels. You can't escape him, especially if your name is Yo Gotti or Blac Youngsta.
What, if you so gangster, why the f you rapping? Why you ain't out there killing? You need to go do some murders, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you're a killer, go kill some shit. You right here on this stage for, you know what I'm saying? So I look at it like, so many people want to be rappers. And so many people I ain't no rapper, I'm a street. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much bullshit. So I had to wonder to myself, like, what the f am I? You know what I'm saying? All these be lying like, talking about they this and they that. But what, I had to really think like, what am I? And I'm like, I'm not a rapper. Cause I like rapping, but I'm telling my side, but I really like entertaining.
The feud started when Dolph turned down Gotti's shiny CMG contract. That rejection wasn't just a nah bro. It was like swiping left on a mob boss. Personal, humiliating, and the seed of a blood feud. Gotti went from admirer to saboteur overnight, trying to block Dolph's career like a hater with Wi-Fi access. But Dolph thrived anyway, which only turned the rivalry nuclear. And who was Gotti's attack dog in all this? Yep, Blac Youngsta. He wasn't just dissing Dolph in songs. He was out there clowning in the streets, doing the kind of reckless moves that scream, FBI, please watch me.
Tell them bitch what it is, bro. YPN shit, y'all fly niggas, CMG shit, y'all rich niggas, heavy count shit.
Nah, I would never f them broke ass. That shit. When I was broke, why would I f them now they broke?
It ain't my fault you broke. You weren't playing on me. I'm telling my mom
Ooh, I'm pregnant. Ooh, my shoe just fell out. Ooh, my head just fell out. Ooh.
Graveyard videos, drive-by level disrespect. It was all gas, no brakes. Now, years later, with Dolph dead and CMG still under suspicion in street whispers, that shadow hangs like a guillotine. Every time Youngsta breathes, folks tie it back to Dolph. It's less career baggage and more permanent curse. You can swap out chains, cars, and bios, but you can't unfollow a ghost. Being a send-out is rap's equivalent of being the office intern who gets asked to fetch coffee, except the coffee run might end with federal charges. Stan G didn't mince words. Blac Youngsta was Gotti's send-out. Translation? The dude you call when you need someone reckless enough to do the stunts you wouldn't dare attach your own face to. At first, this was genius. Youngsta brought chaos, attention, viral moments. He was CMG's human marketing campaign. Wild Instagram lives? Check. Gun-toting videos in rival neighborhoods? Double check. He turned controversy into clout better than anyone. But here's the plot twist. The role of send-out has an expiration date. Once the antics start attracting law enforcement instead of fans, you go from hype man to walking liability. Suddenly, Youngsta isn't the star player. He's the crash test dummy everyone's praying survives long enough to keep the brand alive. The cheeky truth? Being a send-out is like being the red shirt on Star Trek, sure. You're in the crew, but everyone knows you're not making it out of the episode alive. Remember when CMG looked like the Avengers? Yo Gotti had Moneybag Yo running up charts, Blac Youngsta bringing viral chaos, 42 Doug with street credibility, and then Glorilla blowing up overnight. Squad goals, right? Wrong. Fast forward to now, and CMG looks less like Avengers, more like the Real Housewives of Memphis. Moneybag's momentum slowed like a drunk driver hitting a speed bump. 42 Doug caught legal smoke. Blac Youngsta is ghosting fans like an ex with unpaid child support. Meanwhile, Gotti is laser-focused on Glorilla, throwing the entire bag behind her like she's the last lifeboat on the Titanic. Fans notice the shift too. Gone are the family-style celebrations, replaced with shady captions and suspicious unfollows. CMG doesn't look like a label anymore. It looks like a group project where only one person is doing the homework, and the rest are just waiting to fail the class. The drama is so thick, you could spread it on toast. And guess who's the most buttered-up liability? Yep, Youngsta. Here's the cruel irony. Blac Youngsta built his career on loyalty. He was the guy who rode for CMG no matter what. Diss track needed? Done. Graveyard stunt? On it. Public beef? Say less. His brand was, I'll go to war for the team. But somewhere along the way, loyalty started looking less like an asset and more like a ticking time bomb. Fans don't cheer the same way when loyalty drags you into federal watch list territory. Labels don't like when your devotion translates into potential RICO charges. And bosses like Yo Gotti don't keep liabilities around when their empire is already under heat. So, Youngsta, once the poster child of loyalty, is now the red flag. The same fire that made him valuable is now the smoke that could burn down the whole house. In CMG's world, loyalty isn't rewarded with a gold watch. It's punished with silence, shadow bans, and maybe worse. Nothing says we're totally cool, like quietly deleting your boss's name from your bio. That's the millennial version of filing divorce papers. Blac Youngsta didn't need to call Yo Gotti out by name. He let Instagram do the talking. Bios vanished. Captions got spicy. Suddenly, CMG fans were playing detective like it was an episode of CSI Memphis. This wasn't a clumsy mistake either. The man knew exactly what he was doing. Social media is the new rap battleground. No bullets, just unfollows and cryptic emoji posts. Youngsta basically lit a neon sign saying, "I'm not happy at home." And trust, the streets caught it instantly. Fans went from laughing off, "Haha, he's trolling," to "Wait, is CMG actually falling apart?" The timing was too perfect. Dolph's ghost still haunting the block, Stan G throwing gasoline with his warnings, and Youngsta pulling digital Houdini tricks on his label identity. If CMG was a family, this was the equivalent of taking the family photo off the living room wall and replacing it with a mirror. The gag: by the time Youngsta tried to walk it back, the damage was done. Fans smelled blood. And in rap beef, perception is reality. Once you look like you're drifting, people assume you're already gone. You ever subtweet your boss and forget they have Wi-Fi too? That's basically what Blac Youngsta did when he posted rants about fake CEOs and fake brothers. Bro didn't need to tag Yo Gotti. Everyone knew who the smoke was aimed at. This wasn't passive-aggressive, it was active-aggressive. He basically called Gotti a fraud with an iPhone Note app. In the rap game, that's more dangerous than an IRS audit. Why? Because Gotti isn't just some executive. He's built his whole brand on being the ultimate mob boss. The moment you question his authenticity, you're not poking the bear. You're calling him a stuffed teddy. And if we know anything about mob bosses, it's that betrayal doesn't come with a stern talking to. It comes with a meeting where you don't come home. So Youngsta's shade wasn't just rebellious, it was borderline suicidal. In this world, you don't throw rocks at the throne unless you've already got a castle of your own. It's all fun and games until the jokes stop landing. Blac Youngsta's rants turned dark, talking about losing friends, feeling alone, and knowing money can't protect him. That's not trolling. That's crying into the mic. When an artist starts posting about being touchable, no matter how rich, you don't laugh, you clutch your pearls. That's basically admitting you feel like a walking target. And in Memphis, that's not paranoia, that's Tuesday. The post stripped away the bravado. No more goofy antics, no stacks of cash for the gram. Just a man realizing loyalty doesn't equal safety. Fans didn't read it as "Amo Youngsta." They read it as funeral foreshadowing. And that's the cruel irony. The more vulnerable he looked online, the more dangerous it made his situation offline. Imagine getting called a fake CEO, and instead of arguing, you clap back with mafia-coded lyrics and Jay-Z's Dynasty intro. That's Yo Gotti's energy. Forget tweets, he answered like a mob boss straight out of The Sopranos translation. Play with me if you want, but remember who signs your checks and your fate. This wasn't a casual response, it was a chess move. By leaning into the mafia aesthetic, Gotti reminded everyone he's not just a rapper, he's the godfather of Memphis rap. Break rank and you're not just disrespected, you're marked. It's wild because in normal jobs, when your employee complains, you offer HR mediation. In CMG, HR stands for Heavily Regulated Funerals. Youngsta probably thought he was firing off cute subliminals, but Gotti treated it like a declaration of war. You know it's bad when a court case ends and the streets still act like it's unsolved. Hernandez Goan, allegedly tied to Dolph's death, got acquitted, but instead of closure, it reopened old wounds. CMG's name got dragged right back into the mud. And right when the city was side-eyeing Gotti's empire again, who poured gas on the fire? Blac Youngsta. The man went to a graveyard, filmed a video next to a headstone with Dolph's last name, and thought it was cute content. That's not trolling. That's career suicide speedrun edition. Even if Youngsta thought it was loyalty, to Gotti it was terrible optics. Imagine your employee crashing the company car straight into a police station, then live streaming it. That's what Youngsta did with that stunt. The acquittal could have been a chance for CMG to quietly move on. Instead, Youngsta doubled down on recklessness, forcing fans to wonder if he was dumb, fearless, or just begging to be cut loose. Here's the problem with rap beefs. The courts might say not guilty, but the streets already gave you life without parole. After Dolph's death, the whispers weren't, "Who did it?" They were, "Which CMG artist ordered Uber Eats to the crime scene?" Even without evidence, fans stitched the narrative like it was an HBO doc. And whose face kept popping up on the suspect board? Blac freakin Youngsta? It didn't matter that nothing was proven. In Memphis, perception is stickier than Gorilla Glue. Once your name is attached to something, it's permanent. Dolph's ghost isn't just haunting Yo Gotti, it's tattooed on Youngsta's reputation like a bad drunk decision. That's the curse. You can't outrun a rumor in a city that thrives on them. Every song, every post, every side-eye at the club gets interpreted as, yep, that's the guy. Courts don't control careers anymore. The streets do. And the streets already dropped the G. There's nothing more suspicious than a rapper playing peekaboo with his label tag. One day, Blac Youngsta's bio screams CMG for life. The next, poof. It's gone like your cousin's child support payments. Every time it happens, fans lose their minds. Is he independent now? Did he quit? Did he get fired? This ain't trolling anymore. It's basically an SOS. You don't delete your gang's name unless you're either breaking up or in witness protection, and in Youngsta's case, it looks like both. The comedy is, after every bio cleanse, he creeps back into the fold like nothing happened. Like a dude who swears he's done with his toxic ex, then shows up in her selfies again. But this time, different energy. With Stan G's warning in the air, fans are treating those bio deletions like death omens. Nothing ruins Thanksgiving dinner faster than subtweeting your big brother. That's basically what Blac Youngsta did when he called out fake CEOs and fake brothers. In rap, that's not just shade. That's throwing the whole tree. Yo Gotti's entire brand is built on being the CEO. The Memphis Don, the guy who made CMG look like Rock Nation 2.0. So when your own artist starts hinting you're a fraud, that's like telling Santa you saw him buy gifts at Dollar Tree. Instant credibility collapse. The real gag, Youngsta didn't even need to Gotti. Everyone knew who the target was, and the fact he went there publicly means whatever's happening behind closed doors is nuclear, because rappers don't risk mob boss wrath unless they feel burned beyond repair. Money can buy you Ferraris, chains, and private jets. But apparently, it can't buy you peace when Yo Gotti's your boss. Youngsta went full emo on Instagram, posting about loneliness, betrayal, and how money won't stop a bullet. Bro sounded less like a rapper and more like Drake's ghostwriter after heartbreak. Fans weren't laughing. They were nervous. Because when the class clown starts writing essays about depression, you know something's broken. The posts weren't haha troll Youngsta. They were, this man knows he's living on borrowed time. That raw vulnerability was shocking. This is the same guy who once made headlines for flexing stacks and clowning haters. Now he's out here sounding like a Shakespearean tragedy in designer sneakers. When you get called a fake CEO, most people would send a lawyer's letter. Yo Gotti? He responded with mob-coded bars and Jay-Z's Dynasty intro. Translation, I don't argue with employees, I remind them who owns the building. It wasn't petty, it was surgical. Gotti leaned into the mafia aesthetic harder than ever. Like, yeah, I'm the Don and I don't care who knows it. He didn't just clap back. He flexed the kind of power move that says, keep playing and you'll be a cautionary tale. Fans caught the subliminals instantly. This wasn't music beef anymore. It was organizational discipline, the way a mob boss might leave a fish on your doorstep as a warning. And here's the plot twist. The more Gotti played up the mob persona, the scarier it made Youngsta's position. Because if your boss is openly branding himself as a gangster kingpin, what do you think happens when you call him fake? Spoiler, it doesn't end with a HR meeting. Breaking rank in CMG is like farting in church. You might walk out alive, but your reputation is already dead. When Stan G framed CMG like a mob family, he wasn't exaggerating. Yo Gotti's whole identity is built on being Memphis's Don Corleone, and in that world, betrayal isn't a misunderstanding. It's a death sentence. Blac Youngsta's disses about fake CEOs aren't just shade, they're mafia-level disrespect. You don't call the boss a fraud without consequences. In mob logic, even thinking about betrayal is punishable. So imagine posting it on Instagram where millions can see. That's not rebellion, it's volunteering for an early retirement package, 6 feet deep. The scariest part? This ain't a movie. If Gotti runs his empire with real mob rules, then Youngsta isn't facing contract termination. He's facing contract extermination, and Memphis isn't Hollywood. It's a city small enough that betrayal echoes everywhere. 42 Doug caught cases, Youngsta's drowning in drama, and Gotti's cloud is dented by Dolph's ghost. The only one shining is Glorilla, and one artist can't carry an empire built on chaos. The real suspense. What happens to Blac Youngsta? Because if this spirals further, it's not just a label breakup, it's a potential tragedy. Gotti moves like a president with Secret Service level reach, and Youngsta is reckless enough to keep poking the bear. Fans already brace themselves, saying, "We don't want another Dolph situation." But the writing's on the wall. Unless something changes, CMG won't just lose its unity, it could lose its legacy. And Blac Youngsta, he's not looking like the hero of this story, he's looking like the cautionary tale parents use when their kids want to join the rap game.